the DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Breakfast Bankroll for Tuesday, April 25th, 2023, the last Tuesday of April. Holy cow, next Tuesday at this point, May 2nd, I'll be talking to Jules and asking him who his winner is in the Kentucky Derby. I know he'll have a little insight there, but what a morning as the steam back and forth. Will Levis to #1 the last couple hours, and Bryce Young too. It's comedy. And if you weren't watching last night, the heat is on. Holy moly, Jimmy Buckets. And for all the Celtic fans, I think that they're one step closer to aligning the duck boats and the parades. That's just Green Nation, of course. Long, long, long way to go, as I'm high above courtside right now with the Celtics. Overnight 12.5-point favorites, now 13.5 at the Circa with a 229 and a hook. But today is all about Julian Edlow. Today is all about DraftKings. The numbers, the draft, where he sits, who he's rooting for, what he has for inside information, and much, much more. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only, Mr. Julian Edlow.
What's going on, Jeff?
Good morning, Jules. How are you?
Tired. I watched the Lakers game last night.
You know, it's so funny. You listen to all our friends out west, and they say once you go out west, you never come back as a sports fan, obviously, because, you know, if you watch the Lakers game last night in Vegas, you know, then you're saying, hey, where are we going for a nightcap? Where are we going to go get a late dinner? And us, it's like, oh, shit, I got to kind of get up early in the morning.
It goes both ways, and I'm never going to understand it because I'm never going to live on the West Coast, I'm going to guess. But when I go there, it's obviously for 3, 4, 5 days, and I don't get fully on schedule. So I don't like waking up for those Saturday 9 a.m. tip-offs and 9 a.m. kickoffs on the West Coast. I like having my morning to get ready for the games and doing the noon stuff. And I don't mind staying up late for a game, particularly on the weekend. So I'm on the East Coast sports schedule. I'll say that I would rather stay up until 1 a.m. for a game than have to start a game at 9 a.m. But maybe it's just because I haven't gotten on the full schedule, but the West Coasters, they swear by it.
It's funny when I'm out there in March, especially if you're out there for the first weekend and that Thursday tip-off, you literally have to be moving by 6:30 a.m. if you want to get a prime spot, unless you know someone. And getting used to that in my early days in the Vegas trips, I can tell you how many times I missed the 7 o'clock East start, which is a 4 o'clock out west, and I'm sitting there at 4:30 saying, oh, I got 2 more hours to get this in, and then it hits me like a dummy stick because the game's already started.
Yeah, it's not for me. Like you said, you got to get there at what time to get a good spot. I don't want to do that. I just got home from dinner at midnight. I'm still digesting my steak. Like, not for me. I watched that crazy couple March Madnesses ago, that crazy Baylor Carolina game. I was just watching that on the couch in my hotel room because I was like, I'm not going to the sports book at 8 a.m. I don't feel like doing this.
I don't know where to start here. So I might as well go what's hottest. I mean, no one was hotter, obviously, than Jimmy Buckets last night. a game for the ages. Listen, it was kind of comical. In the play-in game, Atlanta comes to Miami, and Miami played a quarter and a half and said, we're all set. And then after they lost that game, there was rumblings that they kind of took that game up because they thought they would be a better matchup against the Bucks versus the Celtics. Now, of course, Giannis gets hurt game 2. It's 3-1 Miami. I mean, you can go get plus money right now on the Bucks to come back and win the series. They are right now 11-point favorites. They will be favorites in game 5, 6, and 7. Are you buying the Heat, or you think it's a decent value here on the Bucks on the plus side?
The Bucks just refuse to make adjustments. These comebacks happen to they're on the wrong side of these all the time. So the price is correct in terms of like how big a favorite the Bucks are going to be in these games. If you roll over the money lines, like the math checks out, put it that way. But thinking about this realistically, the way that the Heat have played the Bucks, not just now, you remember I played Heat plus 400 series line the bubble year when they were huge underdogs to the Bucks. They won that series in 5 games. So the Heat have history against the Bucks, having success against them. One of the ways I did take the Heat plus 400 in that series. I remember one of the things I did as I was like, Miami's going to be competitive here. I took over 5.5 games. I lost it because the Heat beat up on the Bucks too quickly. Just realistically thinking about this and the message sent down the stretch last night, how that game finished. Are the Heat really gonna lose 3 in a row now? I know Giannis is back and he looked great, but just gut call tells me that laying minus 140, minus 150 on the Heat to just not go on a 3-game losing streak feels like it feels short. Feels like the side I would rather be on. And again, the math checks out. I probably wouldn't bet the series game by game. In fact, I'm probably going to bet Bucks first quarter or first half in game 5 because they're going to come out at home and play with some energy there. I don't want to lay all the points for the game, but in terms of a hot start, that'll be a play for me. But if you're thinking about it just realistically, sometimes you make a gut call when betting. Minus 140 or so for the Heat series, that feels light.
And you talked about coaching. Listen, so much respect I have for upstairs with what Pat Riley has done. Spoelstra as the coach. Listen, I don't consider myself I don't like today's NBA game. I've made that real clear. I'm stuck in the 80s with Larry and Michael. I was Larry and Magic, excuse me. I was a Michael fan, but as the game progressed, I didn't follow with the times. With that said, if you're not a Butler fan, shame on you. I mean, the guy is just nails. If the Heat pull this off, rumblings, do you think that the Bucks coach, they say enough's enough here? Or, I mean, regular season doesn't matter. He's got a championship. He's got considered the best player in the NBA. Are we overreacting? This is just obviously morning rumblings after they have 14-point lead, and you could have got the Heat plus a bazillion in game last night.
Yeah, that was 101 to 89. Milwaukee with 6 minutes left in the game, and the Heat kind of like blew him out almost. So I would have fired Mike Budenholzer a couple of postseasons ago. So I would fire him based off the history that they just keep not doing it. I don't know if they actually will, but I certainly would.
Celtics primed for a gentleman's sweep, big favorites today at the Garden. Any fear of a letdown here, or is this, the Celtics as big favorites this year have not done well. Atlanta just doesn't seem to pose a threat. Maybe the Celtics come in lackadaisical. maybe Trae Young and company got one last stand, which is probably, the first half and, 24 minutes. But are you in any doubt that the Celtics don't close this out tonight?
Normally, I would say no doubt. Tiny doubt, and it's because of their history. We just talked about Miami. I remember going to the game Friday night, Game 6, Eastern Conference Finals against the Heat. It was Memorial Day weekend. The Celtics were minus 400. They were going to close out the Heat and go to the NBA Finals. Jimmy Butler goes nuts. They lose that game. They wound up getting it done Game 7 in Miami. We remember how they played with their food at times in the postseason last year and won a lot of series a game after you think they would have. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know from December 16th on, excluding the postseason, the Celtics went on a 15-game stretch where they were 7-8 straight up when favored by double digits. So they sleepwalk. DeJounte Murray's suspended. Maybe they get a little overconfident. Now, it's the playoffs. The Sixers are already waiting to come to Boston this weekend and get the next round done. It would be so foolish to have to go back to Atlanta on Thursday night and keep playing. That's why ultimately, I'm gonna take the Celtics. I have them. My biggest bet of the postseason so far is the Celtics laying 2.5 games in the series. So I essentially now have them minus 120 on the money line tonight as a very big bet. I'm gonna let it be. I'm not hedging it. I think they're gonna win the game. But history tells us that they can fall asleep in these spots. So hopefully, if they do, it is for not a full game or a short enough portion of the game where they leave themselves room to work back.
One of the pre-flop series that it seemed, I always say the world was on, was the Knicks. It was great value. I here, unfortunately, had Cavs minus 1.5 games, trying to get the plus money on the Cavs. Shame on us there. I'm not surprised. I'm just surprised how inept the Cavs have been in the first 4 games. Surprised as the Cavs did, or you think, Custard's last stand here, Cavs tomorrow, currently 5.5-point favorites. They win that, then they have to go to Game 6, try to figure it out at MSG. But surprised with the Cavs, or you thought the Knicks are who they thought they were?
Very surprised. I made this a double result bet. I bet Cavs game 1 and series, and they lost game 1 at home. And I haven't gotten reinvested in them since then. So, I thought that the Cavs were going to be better on the interior with Allen and Mobley, and it's been Mitchell Robinson dominating them. They don't even need Julius Randle on the Knicks side. It's just been Mitchell Robinson. Obi Toppin closed out last game over Randle. So that edge in the paint that I thought would be there, not there. And I thought that the guard advantage, I was like, Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are a great 1-2 punch at guard. They're going to outplay the Knicks backcourt. Hasn't been the case. So everything that I thought about Cleveland has been wrong. I'm pretty surprised because Mitchell has good playoff experience. They were such a good home team all season, Cleveland. But it just hasn't come together. So much like the Bucks, who I don't ultimately believe will win the series. I don't believe the Cavs will ultimately win the series. I can't go full game with them in game 5, but I will go with a first quarter or first half Cleveland bet. I'm going to have, I think there's 3 games tomorrow that I'll have all first quarter, first half bets on the home team. It's going to be Milwaukee against Miami. I'm going to do it with Cleveland against the Knicks. And I'm also going to do it with the Grizzlies. I have Lakers series as a pretty big bet. And I bet them pretty big in game 3. But that'll be like a Memphis first half spot, desperation game 5 at home, down 3-1. I think there's a lot of good early plays, first quarter, first halves on that Wednesday card.
Let's go out to the Wild Wild West. It's crazy. I mean, listen, Dylan Brooks, thanks, but no thanks. I mean, listen, I actually liked this game in Oregon back in the day. Just total putts right now. The jaw, I don't really want to dive into that. but the Lakers rounding into form, I'd like to say over here. Are you buying LA right now? I know you have them, but moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was a seller of them at the trade at the All-Star break. I said we haven't seen it from the Lakers outside of the bubble. I'm going to play their win total under in season, and I lost that. They got it together. The rotation without Westbrook, the pieces they have playing Reeves more, Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, what they have is working. So I took them against Memphis, and path-wise, I would favor them against the Warriors or Kings in the next round. So I think the Lakers should be in the Western Conference Finals playing the winner of what should be a very good Denver-Phoenix series. And that's why I'm going to have to, I have some Suns futures from before Durant. So I think Denver's where I'm going to have to hedge them. We actually put out a line. I don't know why we don't have a Celtics Sixers line out. Probably Embiid's knee, because he has some LCL damage. It just got reported. Probably sits to start the series, returns with a brace. I think that's what's holding up the Celtics Sixers series price. But we have a Suns Denver one up on DK Sportsbook. Suns obviously will be the road team. They're laying -140 on the series line, which makes sense because they're favored to win the West. But I'm going to have to take some Denver there as a really good home team. And the Suns got lucky. Like, Clippers were up 1-0 and up 12 points in the second quarter of game 2. Phoenix comes back and win. Kawhi does what he always does and taps out in the playoffs. And the Suns are going to get through here. But Denver is going to be a test. That's going to be, that should probably be more of a pick'em series in my mind. And the Lakers will get the winner of that series and play a very good team either way in the Western Conference Final.
You talked about Kawhi, just discussed it. The fact that, they get the split on the road and then he taps out, doesn't play 3-4. He's already tapped out for game 5. Watching Veasan and a few other spots throughout the week. And as an owner, listen, this guy, the owner for the Clippers, did everything he asked. They moved boulders to get Paul George in there. And they have a new stadium coming in 2024. Listen, the load management began with Pop and Kawhi back in San Antonio way back. And listen, the heroics, and that's done. That is left the building a long time ago. Is there a way that they can somehow, some way move on from him? Or is this going to be, are they stuck with him?
I have no idea what the market would be for him. I assume if teams keep taking on Kyrie Irving, teams are going to keep taking on Kawhi Leonard, who at least doesn't come with the drama. Now, like, Kawhi's great when he's on the court. He was great in games 1 and 2. The knee damage is real. That's what, you heard Jalen Rose say on one of the broadcasts, like, if you see Kawhi Leonard off the basketball court just walking down the street, he looks like an old man walking around with his knees. So I don't know if he needs to retire because he can't stay on the court and has real knee damage. I don't want to blame, I said tapping out. Maybe that was a little harsh.
No, it wasn't.
On him because he has real knee damage, but it's I don't have a great answer. It's an interesting storyline that, obviously has something real to it. It's been every postseason now with the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard winds out with the knee, other than the year that they were up 3-1 on Denver and collapsed in the conference final in the bubble. So it's been nothing but bad things. I don't know. I guess my takeaway is, how many times have we talked about when's the time to get the Clippers future in on this show, you and I, and we didn't. This is what we said. They could not be healthy. And here they are as a plus 700 underdog on the road in an elimination game in the first round with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George sitting on the bench. So glad that we stood pat.
One of the fun series to watch, Golden State and Sacramento. A series doesn't begin till someone breaks someone on the home court. And just how it just happens, NBA sitting there. Listen, the Kings are great story, great regular season. Fox has been amazing. And now Fox hurt, most likely out tomorrow. Golden State a 4-point favorite with a 232. You giving them a puncher's chance, or this is just the break that Golden State needed to steal one on the road and then wrap it up in 6?
This, for me, out of the gate, and especially after seeing games 1 through 4, was all set up to be Kings in 7. The Warriors cannot win on the road. But they now have the momentum of winning 2 home games and scraped by playing poorly in game 4. And De'Aaron Fox is putting up 32, 7, and 6. He's playing 40 minutes a game. He can't be replaced right now. I like Davion Mitchell. I like what Malik Monk's doing. But you can't replace that superstar production that Fox is giving them. As soon as this happened, I took the Warriors laying the game and a half. I think it was plus 155. I gave it out as a play in an article at plus 120. This number, Fox is doubtful as soon as he's ruled out. So this was Kings minus 1.5 initially before we knew about Fox. Then we get the news about the broken finger and he's doubtful. It goes to Warriors minus 3.5, a 5-point swing. Now we're looking at Warriors minus 4 on DK Sportsbook, 175 on the money line. And when Fox gets out, it's going to move another point or two, assuming he gets ruled out. So I think this is the break the Warriors needed. I think it's going to be in the back of the Kings' mind that, we can't win without this guy. So I think the Warriors carry the momentum, pounce on a weak team, win this road game. And then if Fox is out game 6 in Golden State, we just saw the Warriors 7.5 at home. What's that without Fox? 10? 10.5? Then you got a huge favorite closeout game 6 at home. I think it's really unfortunate because we could have had a really exciting Kings team get through something new, taking down the dynasty of the last however many years in the NBA. And this broken finger is going to probably take that away from us. And last thought on this one, the totals in these games have been like the 238 to 240 range. I hit the over in game 1. I hit the under in game 3. I played the under in game 4. It lost. It's 232, down a lot for game 5, obviously with the idea that Fox will be out. But the pace that he pushes, putting Davion Mitchell, who's a defensive piece in for Fox, this is going to be worth a lot of points. The Warriors want to muck this up probably and slow a game down. That's how they got their easiest win of the series in game 3. So even though it's way lower, it's a completely different story with Fox out. I might be looking at an under for game 5.
Let's transition. Thursday, the draft. We've been talking for weeks on our shows with you. I mean, all the speculation, all the bounce and the moving, you guys at DraftKings, hats off. I mean, it is an amazing product that you guys put up there. And listen, I'm not getting paid, guys, to say that, okay? But even if your state doesn't have a DraftKings bet live, download the app and just take a look at everything they have to offer. Window shop their numbers, window shop their props, and then try to shop it around to your books. All right, we're here. We woke up this morning, Will Levis to number 1, potentially, Bryce Young to number 2. You and I both, wink, wink, assume this is not going to happen. It's steam. Give us what happened when you woke up this morning. Give us your thoughts realistically, as if I said, Julian, you're the GM of the Panthers and you're on the clock.
If I'm the GM of the Panthers and I'm on the clock, I'm taking Bryce Young because he's the best prospect in this draft. And if he was 3-4 inches taller, we'd be talking about him like Andrew Luck and Trevor Lawrence. He's the best player. No brainer. Carolina should take him. You see what he did at Alabama last year with the worst weapons he's ever had. You saw that bowl game against K-State, 5 or 6 touchdowns, whatever. Bryce Young's the best player in this draft. No brainer. Easy decision. But it doesn't matter what I think. We bet on information. Now, I would say there's a 97, 8% chance that the Panthers are going to go Bryce Young. But we don't have concrete confirmation, I guess. And the move this morning was off like Reddit posts, friend of Will Levis, told him he's going number 1. It blew up on Twitter. That's the day and age we live in. That's what these draft markets are now. I would guess, if I had to guess, this was calculated and somebody did this to get a better price on Bryce Young, would be my guess. It bottomed out at, Levis was like 50-1 last night to be the first pick. It bottomed out this morning, I think, at Levis plus 400 on DraftKings and Bryce Young minus 700. Now, I know 700 isn't attractive, but if you're a professional gambler with a massive bankroll, minus 700 is a very good price on Bryce Young. It's now back up to Bryce Young minus 1,600, Will Levis plus 650. So my guess is that this was done to get a better price on Bryce Young and manipulate the market a little bit, but I don't know. Ever since we remember Paolo Banchero and Jabari Smith, Shams was lied to, Woj was lied to. So we got to be careful with these things.
Well, we're 2 days away. This is your time to shine, and we won't catch it till next Tuesday, well after the draft. Obviously, we'll do a draft recap, and I know you have other shows and stuff going on today, but give us what's in pocket for Jules right now. Give us what you're still looking at, maybe the first 10, 12 in your head. Patriots stuck on 14. We'll get to that. But what do you see and initially say through the top 10?
So putting it giving out draft plays is becoming harder and harder because number one, they move so quickly based off any information. And number two, like a lot of the times information changes. So if I could give out a play and somebody could take it and 2 weeks later, I have to give something else out to hedge or protect yourself a little bit based off new information. So it's a whole portfolio. It's a puzzle. You need to put the whole thing together to really do it right. So it's difficult, but based off, and I don't want to come on here and say, so I have Will Anderson over 3.5 at plus 120. It's now minus 185. I don't want to come out and give plays that I wouldn't bet at this stage and just say, oh, I have this. So I'm going to try and give out some stuff that still seems reasonable. Now, I picked that one randomly. I don't think minus 185 is all that bad on Will Anderson over 3.5. If it can tick down at all, I would bet it. One's going to be a quarterback. Two, there's a lot of Houston. Two could be a quarterback. It could be a trade. And there could be there's a lot of interest in Tyree Wilson, apparently, at 2, who I've bet as the first defender. But I did that at like plus 500. And now you got a lay juice. So, again. And then 3 could be, Arizona could trade out. It could be a quarterback. We're hearing about Paris Johnson, O-lineman going up there. Like, I think there's more avenues for Will Anderson to slide at. There's only 3 picks at the top. I think there's more paths for him to slide. Let me keep going through here. Stuff has gotten really smashed around. Here's one that isn't information-based. It's more of a gut call. I put out Anthony Richardson at plus 300 to go under 4.5. It's now plus 255. I still think, I think Levis has a good chance to go 2. This is before the 1 steam happened, but 2. If the Colts are sitting there, put it this way. Here's the simple way to put it. If the Colts are sitting there at 4 and Levis and Young are off the board, I think Richardson is probably the pick. Or if quarterbacks go 1-2, maybe somebody panics and trades Arizona for 3. And now Richardson finds a way into the top 4. I just think there's ways for Richardson to find his way into the top 4. Last I looked, he was like minus 200 to be a top 5 pick. But you can get plus 255 from him to be a top 4 pick. And I know Seattle's there at 5, but I think there's paths for him there. Yesterday, Jahmyr Gibbs, the Alabama running back, took a ton of steam to go into the first round. I got some plus money there. I really wanted to give this out as a play at like minus 115. It's now minus 175. I think, again, like you want less. I think you can bet Jahmyr Gibbs to be a first rounder. It sounds like some teams really like him, and it only takes one.
Does DK have it, or someone else had the Robinson Gibbs first round at plus money? That wouldn't, if you got Gibbs already at that price for the first round, that wouldn't make any sense then.
Well, no, Gibbs was big. It was, Gibbs was like plus 300 or so a while back to be a first rounder, and took a big move. So I think there was a prop. I think the plus money prop that you're thinking of is Bijan Robinson to go top 10 with Gibbs to go first round.
That was it. Yeah.
I'm not comfortable enough with a running back going in the top 10 though. So I can't do that. So yeah, at this point, I think you just got to take a worse number on Gibbs. It sounds like he's going to go first round again. Like, there's nothing wrong with a big price move with drafts. Like, once we get the information. Another one that I think is fine at this price. I'm going, and I'll probably give this one out today. I'm going to go Michael Mayer minus 160 first tight end. He was so polished at Notre Dame, just kind of a do-it-all guy, high character. Like, that's a guy you want in locker rooms. That's a guy that can help a young quarterback. I think that he'll go, and then the real reason that helps this is that Dalton Kincaid and Darnell Washington from Utah and Georgia both have medical stuff going on, red flags. They could drop them. I think if it was close enough with Mayer and Kincaid to begin with, and one has back issues and the other doesn't, I think that's an easy call. So Michael Mayer minus 160, first tight end is another one. And then Lions first pick, I think cornerback, probably Witherspoon, maybe Gonzalez. Lions first pick, I bet that at minus 130 to be a corner. And I think Raiders might be a good pick for a corner too, right behind them at 7 to go with the other one, but I'm still working on that one. But yeah, that's looking at the current board. Hopefully you take something from what I just spewed at you.
With the uncertainty, obviously, I don't want to say two in Houston. Because I'm here in defense of Russell, talked about Tyree Wilson. You talked about Tyree Wilson. I think if Houston sticks and stays, that's their guy. But again, obviously it could be Will Anderson as well. Then 3, Arizona's stuck because we all know at 4, Indy's going to take a quarterback, and they've been tied to Levis. So Indy, as much as, they probably don't have to move up to 3. Now, unless someone's sitting in the back that wants Stroud and jumps up to Arizona, still Indy is safe. I think the Seattle, the Detroit, and the Raiders all go in defense. I think probably most realistic. My next question, Jules, is the Stroud slipping. There's some talks now he might not go 5, 6, 7. You buying that?
We at DraftKings have not had anything Stroud related up, and I think that's because he's so difficult to price. I've seen books with him minus 1,000 to be a top 5 pick. But I have seen another book open his prop at 3.5, minus 110 each way. And within 5 minutes, it was 5.5 with minus 500 to the over. CJ Stroud is going to slide in this draft. He's going to be the 4th quarterback off the board. I think that's just clear at this point, but we're going to keep seeing certain prices on him because the public perception is so obviously that he's the second guy. But he's not. I would say the best prop, if you can find it, is Will Levis to be drafted ahead of CJ Stroud. That was plus money on Levis yesterday, I think. It's like minus 200 or something now. Some places we don't have it. I'm trying to get it up. I'm going to ask to get it up. But that might be the best bet in the draft at this point in time.
I know we'll talk the locals and we'll let you wrap this thing up here. You know, the locals sitting at 14 earlier this week or over the weekend, they brought Will Levis in. So I'm going to piggyback on the Stroud thing. If Stroud was available at 14, would the Patriots take a swing?
No.
Okay.
Pretty confident in that.
Where do you have today? What's your gut on the Pats at 14?
It's a pretty weak class, so honestly, trade back. I think they're going to trade back again, and maybe look at O-line. Maybe look receivers are going to slide in this draft. Maybe look at O-line. Maybe look at receiver. Maybe look at corner. But I think they're going to trade back and hopefully address a position of need. We'll see.
Any chance to okay, I'll end with this one. And this would be a stretch at 14, but how about Joey Porter?
That's probably a little high for him. His draft prop got steamed from 16.5 to 19.5, but I don't know. It seems like maybe he could be a Bill guy, the connection with his dad, you know. It wouldn't shock me, but I would hope that they would focus on offense. Okay.
I mean, it makes too much sense if he falls to the Steelers. That's why it's kind of funny at that 16.5 to 19.5 that
right.
The Steelers would be the play there. Jules, we had you working overtime here today. We thank you. The scroll has been going the whole time. Everyone, please go follow Julian at Julian Edlow, at DraftKings, at DK Sportsbook, at DK Live. Go check out his podcast at Unreasonable Odds Podcast. As we close, always, Jules, anything hot for us locals here to jump on to DK today? Any promos or anything coming up that we should be looking for?
It's always a good question, and I always click the promos tab as soon as you mention it. Let's see. NBA No Sweat Same Game Parlay is running tonight. That's bet a same game parlay. You get a bonus bet back for the same amount if it happens to lose. If you're referring friends in Massachusetts, bonus bet up to $200. Let's see. That's what we got going on right now. And obviously the NFL draft props menu that most places aren't going to have. So a good week for that. And college football lines came out. We got some pretty good numbers on some of the bigger college football lines compared to other places that have them out.
Holy moly. Next Tuesday, we will do the draft recap. We'll be talking second round NBA, potentially second round NHL, obviously, and the Red Sox hanging around 500. So, Jules, thank you as always. Enjoy yourself. Best of luck during the draft, and we'll catch up soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff.
Take care, Julian. The one and only Julian Edlow. Go follow him at Julian Edlow and all his work at DK Sportsbook and DraftKings. Busy time of year, guys. It's easy to be that kid in the candy store. Thank you, Russell. By the way, I have to give a shout out. Great job today. Connor, Marty, Billy, Russell, and to everyone else that I might have not seen or missed. Thank you for watching us. So much action going on, guys. And again, it's easy to get caught up in the madness. You know, you're playing NHL playoffs, you're playing NBA playoffs, you might have some futures, you might have some series plays. Is the day-to-day grind of the MLB. In comes the NFL draft. In 2 Saturdays will be the Kentucky Derby and another major in the PGA. It just never ends. So that's where discipline comes in, guys. Money management. Hey, if you want to start betting a little more, maybe back off on your unit size. And if you're a dollar player and next thing you know, you look and you got, 6 futures, 3 series prices, and you're still trying to play day to day, maybe back off a little, maybe cut that in half. We're not going anywhere. We're not. So we want to see you here as well. Today, mark your calendars, 3:00, Andrew McGinnis at McGinnis Picks at Wager Talk. 4:30, Ron at A Sports, talking the NFL draft. Andrew will obviously be talking NHL playoffs. And Ron's at 4:30. We're going to be talking some more draft. He's got 6 guys that he thinks are mispriced, and I can't wait to hear those. Bring your pen and pads there. 5:30ish, hopefully, Riley sneaks in for a quick closing bell. And around 6:45, myself and Scott Webb will be breaking down MLB, some night games. We'll talk about what transpired over the weekend, talk about some kids coming up. His guy, Taj Bradley, lighting it up again. His Tampa Bay Rays, I think, are now 14-0 at home, first team to 20 wins. And so baseball been crazy. So everyone, yes, Ron is great. If you're not following Ron, go follow Ron at Ace Sports on Twitter. You can go to our website, eastcoastsportsinvestors.com, and click on it, and then you'll get a drop down. You'll get a 32-page draft preview written by Ron, and it is amazing. If you're a draft junkie or you want something to follow throughout the draft on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, go to our website at eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. Just throw your email in there, and you'll be able to download the 32 pages. You'll be able to follow us today with it, and then obviously through the draft. So, guys, go enjoy brunch. I'll be back here at 3 o'clock. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can obviously find me at EC Sports Invest. You can follow us on our website or send us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. Everyone have a great day. Thanks to Jules. Thanks to everyone here. It was a great, great show. Look forward to many, many more, and we will see you soon.